Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a bench press day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below, be greatly appreciated. So in keeping with the plan that I said I was going to discuss, some people have asked, what are you doing with these percentages? What I'm basically doing is I'm taking what were basically training maxes from my meet, and those are the training maxes I'm programming off of. The heaviest lifts I hit at this last meet, which qualified me for Worlds and broke 3 Texas state records for Masters. They weren't that heavy, quite frankly. They were training maxes. So that's what I'm programming off of, because I benched 287, which, again, my total was still good enough because of my deadlift to hit everything I needed. And we'll get the bench back up. I'll get my bench way deep into the 300s by the end of the year. We'll be back to 350 plus. So what I'm pretty much doing here, I'm doing singles, ramping up on these movements with 80 and then 85% of my training max. And then week 1, I'm going to do 90 for 3, 95 for 2, and then 100% of it for 1 plus. Right? And I may not go for more reps on the ones. If it feels real good, I'll stop at 1 rep. If it just feels good and explosive, and we'll take it from there. So today was easy. When I already put up the other footage, someone said, yeah, you definitely had reps in the tank. I was like, yeah, of course it did. And that's the idea. Notice, and everything is paused. One of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to focus more and more on just benching. I'd like to bring this bench volume up a little bit, but if we look at the data we have, this is enough to grow off of. I did 6 sets of 10. I think, though, using the boring but big type template on this system isn't going to be as good, and here's why. I can handle more weight. We're not as fatigued. Like when you do 5, 5, and then an AMRAP, it really fatigues you a lot more than what I just did. Honestly, these were a hair too light, and I know because I went ahead and just knocked out an easy 12 for the 6th set. So I think I need to bump the percentages up just a hair, but I don't think they need to go up that much. Just a hair, and I'm going to keep working volume. So I think on like the squatting and the benching, I'm going to work towards doing more and more sets. And if we stick with 5, then we need to add a second press in or a second type of squat in. But, if we look at it and like I ramped up to a heavy triple and then did 6 sets with a lighter bench, that's enough to grow. And one of the things I did as I went with this, I deep down want to go back to close grip bench. My instincts always tell me close grip, because that's where I'm stronger. But I know I use so much more pec with this wider grip, and I know the reason is that my pecs have always been underdeveloped because I've always benched narrow. And quite frankly, it's limited my bench potential. We could argue, well, you got long arms, the shorter range of motion doesn't matter, but it does matter. And it matters because of less pec development. I've messed around with it with just the 135 with different grips. I could feel more chest with the wide grip. So what I'm noticing is I'm not super comfortable heavy going real wide. So I did pinkies on the rings the first few sets, and then as I went wider. And on the final set, the last one, I went ahead and just went pretty much the limits of what's meet legal. I need to bring my pecs up, and I know that. And I'm going to keep working my triceps a lot to give me the option to do close grip. Now, I had actually chatted with Justin, who's a great bencher, and he's a coach who watches all these vlogs. And he's like, well, if you're going to do the wide grip, you could just do wide and do dumbbell presses, to blow your chest up. But I'm like, he's got a point, but realistically, I just need to do wide grip benching. That has historically been my problem. I overtrain some of the benching muscles, and I don't do just enough wide grip benching. That is one reason my bench sucks. And I know that. Right? I know that. So I need to do this wider grip stuff. I need to just build my chest this way, because this builds your pecs. Anyone who's ever benched like I just did in those final sets knows good and damn well that lights your chest up as much as anything you could possibly do. The research says so. The EMG studies say so. The biomechanics say so. All right? And it's because people aren't pausing. They're not getting tight enough. Things like that is why their chest isn't growing massively from the bench, especially when you go with a wide grip like that. That's going to bring my pecs up. So then I need to just focus on triceps after that. But what I did today, I did chins, and I think what I'm going to do with a lot of this, I want to do pull-ups on squat day. I'll do chins on bench day to make sure that my biceps grow. And 5 quality sets of chins with this sort of volumes, considering I'm over 200 pounds. And my weight's still up from the meet, from the post thing. I'm going to bring it down over the next couple weeks. But I still weigh a lot. I am not down to my pre-water cut weight yet. So the chins are a little bit harder, but realistically, this is great bicep stimulus. This should be all that we really need. And because I'm going to do pull-ups on the other days, and I think what I'm going to do when I do those little kind of AMRAPs to test, I'm going to keep doing those with wide grip pull-ups because I like it for back development. I think it's overall a better back builder. But these chins give us a good combination of back and arguably one of the best bicep builders. And 5 really good sets should be enough, especially because I'm already doing the pull-ups. So I'm going to end up with, probably 10 work sets. And I think deadlift days, I'm just going to focus on deadlift accessories. I'm not going to, part of me wants to do more pulling, but if I do that, I'm not going to have the volume to do those AMRAPs. And I'd like to at least once or twice a week in the mornings come in and hit those 20 plus wide grip pull-ups you guys have seen me do fresh. So this is going to keep my training volumes right about where I need them to be, because that's only going to be 12 sets a week. All right, we're in that optimal zone. We start doing 15 sets for back, it's not going to leave me any wiggle room. Especially considering the deadlift volume I'm going to be doing too. So, but I like this idea of maybe doing the chins then on bench day, because again, it's a good bench. Biceps help with bench, especially out of the bottom. It's one of the support muscles. So, I think for today, just doing plenty of wide grip benching, and I'll bring that volume up a little bit over time, or I'll add a second press, whether it's dumbbells or floor press or whatever. And then I'm going to do tricep work after. And I went with the classic laying extension because, quite frankly, it's arguably one of the best tricep builders. We can make the case off of EMGs for the band work, but I think in this case, because I'm weakest out of the bottom of the wider grip bench, triceps matter there. I think movements like this that put it into that stretch position are probably going to help me out of the bottom of my bench more. I think the band work helps a little more for lockout, or particularly for, when you're a closer grip bencher. And I think it helped my closed grip bench when I was doing that. But really, I need more power out of the bottom. That's what I noticed when I did miss my third attempt. They made me pause it for 3 seconds. I got it about 6 inches off my chest and it stopped. I've got to get more powerful out of the bottom, and triceps will help with that. And people forget that. They think of triceps as lockout, and that's not always the case. And again, some of the data I pointed out before, we know that the long head of the tricep becomes enormously recruited when we get to 90% max on bench. So it can be a weak link in general. So I'm going to do the wider grip benching to bring up the chest and front delts, right? And it will, because the lighter weight biases towards the chest more. Again, that's what the studies show. When we go to those higher reps, it biases pecs more. When we go heavier, it biases triceps and delts more. So by doing it that way, I'm going to maximize the chest development that I need. All that pause work with the wide grip will help me get better out of the bottom, and then I need to just come in and hammer my triceps, because would be the only primary mover that's getting underdeveloped from it is triceps, and we all know I need more arm. So I'm going to come in and try to find really effective tricep movements and avoid overuse. It might require some rotation of them, but I think this one's pretty good on tendons, and I've spent a lot of time doing band work to build that up, so I should be good. And if I have to, I'll rotate in band work or dumbbells or whatever. Just keep working those triceps, because everything else is being covered by the bench. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.